Last spring, I think it was May, I was working on a 565 pre-war American Flyer Atlantic that had the Chugger tender, and probably about that time I was given a couple more of these, and one had a Chugger and one didn't, and so I'm going to revisit making this Chugger work a little bit better. I already have it taken apart at the workbench. Let's go over there now. Alright, it's a bit of a disaster. Here's the chamber, and this baffle was loose, and so I've glued it in. You can see there's a little deterioration of the outside of the chamber, but it should work. I've decided not to clean this out. I think the grease that's in there, or whatever that material is, will be still usable. And here's the motor which runs. One of the pickups was missing, but it was in the box, so I'll be putting this pickup back here. Interesting, it looks like somebody took a piece of copper and covered up this pickup to make it last a little bit longer. Now, the last time we got together with this project, I was using wax from a toilet ring, and I called it Chugger butter. Didn't seem to work, so I bought this beeswax lubricating compound. I just opened the package, and sure enough, it's beeswax, but it's pretty hard. I'm just not sure that's going to work, but I'll give it a try, and if not, I'll go back to the toilet ring. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, I tried to put some beeswax inside of the cylinder, and it's just not soft enough to stay, and so I took a lighter and melted some in there, but it just, I don't know if you can see down there, but it basically just ran down the side and dripped like candle wax. In fact, I dug a pile of it out of there. It's kind of a mixture of the grease that was in there plus this beeswax. So beeswax, probably good for lubricating a wooden drawer, but not for a chugger. So I think I'm going to go back to my toilet gasket wax ring, dig some more out of there, and see if that will work. Just so you know how it sounds without any help, see if you can hear this. Turn the baffle to where it's facing us. So it has a pretty good sound, but I think it just needs to be a little tighter. So let's try some Chugger butter. Well, I can't even say Chugger butter. I've got this stuff all over my hands, my camera. Got it on the inside of the cylinder. I've got it on the leather plunger. Some people say you should take this rivet and reverse the plunger or get a new plunger. I just don't think that's the solution because it's so tight. And I'll let you listen to it again. It even has more friction now. So I'm going to put it back together, see what it sounds like. Now the 564C has the cylinder placed back, the arm is on the big gear, motor works fine. I've got the hot lead from the center pickup on one alligator clip, and I've got it grounded with the other. Got my trusty 8B over there, and let's give it a try. unfortunately, the motor is louder than the cylinder, and you can't hear it chug. And it gets worse the faster you go. So I'm going to try taking that leather plunger apart. Here we go. So here's the plunger. The rivets there. I'll take a drill and just drill it out on this end, and then we'll see what it looks like. I've drilled the rivet, got the backing washer off, and let's see how difficult it is to get this piece off. Looks like it should just come right off. Of course, working with one hand isn't the best, so I'll put this down and try again. Okay, that's right off. There's a big washer on the back of the plunger. I want to make sure I get all of the fibers, or all of the grinding pieces from drilling. There's the cup. We'll see if we can turn it wrong side out. So there's the old rivet, there's the backing washer, and I think instead of reusing those or a new rivet, I'm going to use this little 440 screw with a nylock nut. I might have to get a longer screw. So here is the metal cup that kind of gives the shape to the leather. So that would go like this. I wonder if it's stretched enough now I could put it back together the way it is. But some of you have suggested that I need to reverse it, so a little concerned about reversing it, maybe tearing it, but I'll give it a try. The screw is loosely placed with the fender washer and the cup and the lock nut. I'm going to hold a nut driver on one side and then a screwdriver on the other side. If you don't have a set of nut drivers in your toy train tool arsenal, I'd highly recommend getting a set. I use these all the time. The second time I put this assembly back together, I remembered to put the drive arm on. Well, that'll certainly work better. One of the things that I recommend on the screw is the size 440. It fits perfectly in the hole, helps line things up. Although I do notice there's a little more leather on one side than the other, but there's really nothing you can do about that. I also noticed that on the original configuration with the leather the way it was, the rough side touches the piston, inside of the piston cylinder. Now, and when we flip this up, this is going to have the smooth side touching. Don't know if that'll make a difference. I do know it's going to be tight. Alright, we've got the leather reversed on the plunger, smooth side out, and I've got the 440 screw in there. I've got the arm replaced. I've got the hot lead on the pickup wire and the other lead grounded. Let's give it a try. Well, that's definitely the loudest I've heard this. And I put plenty of Chugger butter around inside the cylinder to lubricate the piston. It seems like there's more friction now since the leather is bent the other way. I'm pretty pleased with that. Let's put it back together and try it in the train. Before we run it on the track, I'm going to try to get this pickup back on here, and I'll have to solder it. But look at the dirt on these wheels. It's actually flaking off. I've never seen that on pre-war wheels. I've seen it on Lionel wheels, but there's so much dirt that it's just built up an insulative layer. So we'll get that cleaned up and get this back on the track. Here's the 564C without a locomotive. Motor noise is a little bit loud, but I think there's some success. Okay, here's the 565 Atlantic with the 564C tender, Chugger tender, and a few freight cars. So let's see how it sounds. Now it wants to go in reverse. Obviously the 565 needs some help with the reverse unit, but I think we had some success tonight with the 564C. I think reversing the leather plunger was a good idea, and I really think that the Chugger butter from the toilet rack wax ring was the right solution. So we'll keep working on the 565, try to get it running better, and maybe work on the 564 a little bit. Thanks for watching.